There you
And we're live. Howdy, comics and pop culture people. It's your friend Brian, aka Big B McFly, hanging out here with my friend Mr. Bueller.
go. That's right.
McFly and Bueller and McFly. It was meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah, but people might not realize this, but you were a guest on my show many years ago.
Long time ago. They'll have to go hunting through the videos to try to find it.
Yeah, it's buried. It's about 600 videos deep.
Right,
But
right.
just so everyone knows, there is a history with me and Mr. McFly here.
You can call me Brian if you want. It's okay. I say my name is Brian, aka Big B McFly. So,
Okay, because that's how we know he is Brian, so I'm calling you Brian.
hey, Bleeker. I got Mr. Bleecker Street in the house.
Nice.
So yeah, we just figured we'd hang out today and do a little talking. You got a big video dropping here pretty soon about Mile High Comics. Is that right?
Yeah, it should be out probably within the hour. It's about 20% left to be uploaded, and I gotta just kind of put the finishing touches on it. But it should be probably by 4 o'clock our time, probably a little bit sooner. And it
Yeah.
should be on the channel. It's a virtual tour of Mile High Comics when I was in Denver about a month and a half ago, and I filmed it, and then they had music playing during the whole thing. So it's like there's
Oh
a bunch.
no, she had to dub over the whole thing.
Yeah, so I couldn't use any of the audio because it's like Led Zeppelin and it's like
Oh
old
geez, all
rock.
totally copyrighted stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole video was just like, oh, I gotta mute everything, and then I got to edit it. The editing was actually pretty easy because I just took like a couple breaks, so it's pretty much just a constant feed of walking through the store. But then I had to do the audio commentary for it. And the nice thing I had our buddy Bullseye Bob, my former co-host of the Coffee and Comic Show, join me. So we're doing the commentary. You don't get to see our faces, so you're lucky.
No.
But you do get to hear him and I discuss watching the video, which he watched it for the first time. I'd obviously, filmed it and seen it a few times. So it should be a fun video. I'm curious to see how many people watch it. So
Well, these unfortunate people have to see our faces. So
yeah, sorry everyone. It is. You get what you deserve. Okay. Just
you get what
kidding.
you pay for.
That's
You
you,
knew what you were signing up for.
yeah, YouTube's free, by the way. So there you go. You get what you.
Right on, right on. And you've added a traveling companion to your adventures, right?
I did. I added a dog, and his name, his original name was Sam. I've now added to that name. Now I call him Sambo, and now I've added to that, so I call him Sambo Old Bones Cornholio. Is his full is his full legal name? So
There you
Sam
go. There you go.
Old Bones Cornholio is sleeping in the bus right now. So,
Hey,
yeah,
Ocho.
I have a nice little dog. He's about 4 years old, so he's actually fully trained and stuff, which is nice. And but he's a good watchdog. Like he'll bark, but he's a nice dog. He doesn't like get like mean or aggressive at people, but he'll bark at people. But as soon as you walk up to him, he's like, "Oh, I want to be your buddy." And so he lets me know if someone's around the bus, and if there's like a dog or a cat, he lets me know for sure. But yeah, it's kind of nice having a little dude on board, and I'm looking forward to hitting the road again with him and seeing how he does. He actually likes the bus quite a bit. It's like, oh, I'll take him for a walk, and then he'll be like, let's go back to the bus. And he'll jump right in, and he'll get back in his bed, and he's good. So
Yeah, a lot of people might not know your mission right now. Why don't you go ahead and fill people in with the whole I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know your mission, but
yeah.
not everyone. Um,
Well, I'm the guy that decided, you know what, who needs to live in a house and collect comics? So I was like, let's sell everything, get rid of your comics, and buy a bus and just travel around like a nomad and just try to go visit comic shops and comic cons all over the country. And I made that
right.
decision about a year and a half ago. Actually, I've been on the road about a year and a half. I made the decision about 2.5 years ago. And so the last year and a half I've spent traveling the whole United States, going everywhere from where we're at, Pacific Northwest, to Florida, New York, Chicago, Texas. I mean, you name it. I've pretty much been to almost every state so far. And I go and I visit comic shops and I promote comic books and I go to Comic Cons. And
What's been the favorite so far? What's your favorite state?
my favorite state, I'll tell you, I'm really fond of Utah. And I
Nice.
say Utah, but not because of the comic shops. I say that because Utah is just beautiful,
Right.
from start to finish. Just so many things to see and look at. And Moab, Utah is one of my favorite places on the planet. And there's like 4 different national parks in Utah, and Utah is a big park, is what it is. That's basically what Utah is. It's a big, huge park, and you can pretty much go and camp wherever you want, and you can go skiing, you can go in the desert, you can do whatever. And it's just beautiful. So if I had to pick a state to move to, it'd definitely be Utah. And I enjoy going. I've been through Utah probably about 7 times since I've been on the road, so I keep on going back. So it's
Right.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I noticed a lot of your photos. You seem to like deserty areas, and you seem to really kind of relate to that biome.
I do. I like the isolation, to be honest. I like to kind of be out by myself and maybe not too far away from civilization, but I just like to enjoy the sunset, enjoy my surroundings, and just kind of be on my own, and for I'm a YouTuber, so I have plenty of interaction with people all the time. So if I'm able to go and like look and can't find a single soul within miles and miles, I really enjoy that and stuff.
Yeah.
And deserts tend to have that appeal to them. So
Yes.
that's kind of why I hit those places. And really, when I do find a place, I stay, and I try to stay for weeks on end and stuff and enjoy it. So I found myself drawn to like Arizona and Utah and places like that for sure. So looking forward to going back here pretty soon.
You just got back from SummerCon up here in Washington, right?
Yeah, that was a lot, and I was hoping to see you there, but you were working apparently, which is
They've been
it's really no
making me.
excuse.
Yeah.
So
14-hour work shifts,
Yeah.
no excuse.
Yeah, take a break. Come on over. But this is I'm a host of this con. I've been the host of this con for the last 4 or 5 years, and every year I do the panels and have a booth set up to talk with the comic book guests. Every now and then a celebrity, but I really don't push that too much. I'm not really tremendously interested in talking to celebrities. But it's probably my favorite con, and this one was special because a bunch of my friends went up there. Bullseye Bob, John Stout, Damien, and some other people met us there. We all got like an Airbnb, so we just had an Airbnb just a few miles up the road from the con for the weekend.
Nice.
So we got to hang out at night and just have some beers and just talk.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing about con for me, because I'm not a guy that goes to cons and let's go buy a bunch of stuff. I barely buy anything. I mean, I've been to New York Comic Con and I didn't spend a dime. I don't even think I looked inside a long box, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really looking for books. I like to go and I like to hang out with the people and meet people and stuff, and that's kind of
You're not a digger anymore, huh?
I kind of, I was telling you a little bit earlier. I don't really have. It's kind of horrible to say because I'm a comic book YouTuber, but I don't have a tremendous interest in adding to my collection right now. I'm very okay with what I've had and what I have now, and even the stuff I have now, I feel as though it needs a new home, because the stuff I have now is just sitting in the storage unit in Portland.
Right.
And my travels, because I can't really take a lot of stuff with me. Now I've sold a lot of stuff, but I still have stuff left, and I feel bad. It's like I've sat there and I go, okay, I have a Hulk 181 sitting in the storage unit, and it's like, I don't want it sitting in the storage unit. I want it on display in someone's collection, either my collection on display or someone else's collection. So I'm debating on, going through what I have left and seeing if they deserve another home. and letting them move on and being okay with not having my grails I've held on to. And I think I'm leaning towards that direction because I don't like the fact that they just sit in the storage unit for foreseeable future.
If they need a foster home, I'd gladly adopt them for you, and you could come visit them anytime you want.
Yeah, I think I figured there'll be some takers on that one for sure. But,
hey, are you familiar with Obito Comics? Have you heard of him?
I don't think so. I know the Hotkey Comics for sure. I actually got their sticker on the bus. I know Two Gun Pedro personally. We went and had lunch together in San Diego. Bleecker, I know Bleecker. I've seen him on other shows, and you and I have known each other for about 4 or 5 years. So
yeah, Obito is he's the next generation of comic colors. He's a young guy,
nice.
you know, and just getting into the hobby, and it's just really neat to watch him. You just really kind of experience things for the first time, see everything for a second time through the eyes of somebody else. It's pretty neat. So
that's pretty cool. Now I might know him. I don't know. Sometimes I've been very blessed to meet a lot of people and to hang out with a lot of people and stuff. And a lot of people watch the show. So if I'm forgetting you, it's not malicious.
It's not intentional, right? Yeah. Right.
I just have a bad memory. So
I said everybody who came into my shop back in the day, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, how you doing, guy?" I'm like, you don't realize how many people I see. All you guys have to remember is one name. I have to remember like hundreds of names.
Yeah, yeah. It's easy to remember the name Bueller. It's hard for Bueller to remember everyone else's, but I do pretty good. So
right. Yeah, you know, the reason I picked McFly was someday I knew I was going to be on a show with you. I figured Bueller and McFly would go together really well. So
it does. That's not the name you went by before when we did the show together. It's something
the witness protection program. What was that episode of Simpsons? I think he's talking to you.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
I have a Hotkey Comics sent me some stickers, and I just put their sticker up on the bus and stuff.
So he was super excited to see that. So yeah, there you go.
So it's kind of cool. I had made a post a while back about well, here's the thing. When I was with Whatnot and stuff, and then when I no longer became part of Whatnot because Whatnot was like my main sponsor, I was like, okay, now what am I going to do and stuff? And somebody recommended to me like, hey, you know, what about the community, like being part of the bus, and like you have like a Patreon tier to where like they'll have their logo on the bus and stuff like that, and they can pay to be on it. It was kind of interesting, but then after a while I thought about it, I was like, you know, I don't want to charge anyone. I don't want to charge the community to be a part of the bus when they're the reason why the bus exists in the first place.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what, let's go a different route. We'll go find a sponsor. We'll find, you know, people out there that want to, you know, companies that want to support the bus, but community members are part of it. And so I wanted them represented on the bus, you know, like I can. I'm trying to find the picture. Here's I don't know if you can see that, but there's the hot.
Oh yeah, there it is. Nice.
That's their logo on the hood of the bus. Now, I will tell you right now, I do not know how long these stickers will last. I don't know all the other stickers, weather, sun, rain. You know, it's on the bus. It's not on the inside.
So, might have to be replaced every once in a while, huh?
Yeah. So they sent me a couple. So I mean, when somebody sends me a sticker, send more than one, you know, or get like really good quality stickers that are, you know, supposed to hold up against the weather. Because I know a few that I've already put on. I mean, these won't last more than a week, and
the sun's just killing them, huh?
Yeah. So especially, you know, right now with how nice it is and stuff. And I already today, and one was already peeling off.
Oh no!
And I just put it on last night, so I was like,
okay. Well, the sun. It's so hot right now. I mean, Obito, we got some of your Texas heat moving up this way, so it's not good.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm putting the stickers on there, and I just started going through them and putting them together. And there's more coming on the way. Every time I kind of update people, I get more sent. I'm at this address where I'm at. I'm actually at my mom's house right now for the next probably the month of July. I will be traveling a little bit, but only on a plane. I'm going down to San Diego for the Comic-Con on the 20th. I'm probably going to Washington State, but that's just right up the street. It's no big deal. So I'm not going far.
Right.
So I'm going to be in this area for a little while. So now's a good time to, if you have a logo or a sticker, is to send it my way to get it put on the bus, And I've told people, if you don't have a logo or a sticker, if you need some guy, I know I have a guy that does stickers. His name is Mr. Sticker. And he does
appropriate name.
Yeah, he does a really good job. I met him in San Diego, and really nice guy, a little business that he does and stuff. So if anyone needs a sticker guy, I'd recommend him, or whoever you have. It doesn't matter, but he's the only guy I know in person. So
be interesting to see how the turnout is for San Diego with Marvel pulling out with the whole strike going on.
I'm actually more interested to go now than before, because I don't really care about that stuff. I don't really care. Oh, here's the announcement. Here's the panels for it's neat. Don't get me wrong, but I like comics. I'm a comic collector. I like to see the comic book creators. I don't, the other stuff is just, extra. So if it's less attended because it's not there, you can focus more on the comics, part of it and stuff like that. And you can probably enjoy the comic end, because I don't think any comic book creators are canceling, and publishers are probably not canceling. They're all going to be there. So they'll have more of a presence, which will be nice, because that's what I'm looking for. I could, I have no desire to go sit in the line and wait to go sit on a panel to listen to what, Marvel is doing next year on the movies and stuff like that. So,
well, some of us like that stuff.
Yeah, I like it, but I'd much rather just click on YouTube and watch it.
Hey, speaking of the movies, so you had an interesting thing with Bob and Vincent D'Onofrio up there at SummerCon, right?
The Kingpin.
Yes, the kingpin of crime.
Yeah, it was. So Bob and I do that con every year. He wasn't able to do last year because of some health reasons, but he was there this year. And Bob has a poster of Daredevil that he had made, and he's had it signed by everyone pretty much associated with Daredevil, like writers and artists on this poster, and it's probably got about 30 or 40 signatures on it. And it's really cool. And he's shown it before on his channel multiple times. So he saw that Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Kingpin, which is obviously in the Daredevil TV show, he's like, oh man, I want to get his autograph and stuff. That's really cool. We weren't expecting to see someone like that come to Puyallup, Washington.
Right.
Puyallup, Washington is not. People will say, what? Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So to have the actors and the creators that they had is pretty amazing. The people that they pulled to that con, to be honest. So when Bob saw that he was coming, he's like, oh, I need to have him sign my poster, and I want him to sign my book, because he's got like a Daredevil #1, like homage to his character, the Kingpin character. It looks just like Vincent and stuff like that. So anyway, I think it was Sunday or Saturday. I can't remember what day it was, but I had noticed that Vincent's line was pretty low. There was hardly anybody there. I go, Bob, why don't you go? Now's the time to go over there and get that done. And Bob's in a he's got I call it a Mario Kart. It's one of those scooters. He uses that sometimes to get around now. And stuff.
Right.
And he's like, oh, he goes, I already went over there, and it's spendy, to get the autograph stuff. I think it was like $80 a signature or something like that. And he goes, I just, now is probably not the best time to put out that type of money for an autograph. So he was gonna wait until maybe down the road.
Gotcha.
But I knew that it was something special to Bob, and so I was like, just thought to myself, you know what? I'll pay for it. I'll go do it, and I'll go see if I can gift it to him and stuff like that, because I know how much it meant to him. I've been with him enough to know that that's really special. And so I walked over to Vincent's table, and I have my badge on. It says official show media, and stuff like that. But we don't really, I never talk to celebrities. It's not what I'm there for. I really don't, it's not my thing. I like the comic book creators. I actually have something to talk about with them. Celebrities,
Right.
I don't even know what to say, to be honest. So it's not a big deal. So I go over there and I introduce myself and to Vincent and his managers right there, or assistant, whoever she is. And I said, "Oh, my friend came over here a little bit ago, and you might remember he was in a cart, or a scooter thing and stuff." And she looks at me and she goes, "He didn't say that he was with the con, you know." And she goes, "We didn't know he was with the con." I go, "Well, we don't really say that, we don't use
Right.
that to our advantage when it comes to stuff like this." And she's like, "If he would have said something, we would have probably, taken care of him." And so I would start talking to Vincent. He's like, "Oh," he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, that's no problem." And I go, because I told him, I said, "I'd like to pay for it and stuff." He's like, "You know what? Don't worry about it. We got you. And we'll just go get him and bring him over here, and we'll take care of him." And I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, I go, "Okay, it's right over there." He goes, and then he goes, "You know what? Let's do something special. Let's go. Why don't you take me to him?" I was like,
That's so awesome.
"Yeah." And I was like, "Are you sure?" Because we have a booth like a couple aisles over, and
Right.
and Vincent's he's about my size. He's about my height, and so it was kind of cool, talking to someone, looking at him eye to eye and stuff like that, And
Yeah.
so we talked a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, just show me where he's at." So we were walking the con floor, and I told Vincent, I was like, "Just so you know, Bob is a crier, and he might start crying." And he's like, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, just fair warning. This might be a thing." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "That's no problem," and stuff. And so I walk over, and Bob's sitting in his chair, and he's on his phone texting and stuff. And I lean over to Bob. I said, "Bob, hey, there's someone here that wants to meet you." And Bob's thinking it's like one of the viewers that used to watch our coffee show or something like that. And so
Right.
Bob looks up, and Vincent goes, "Oh, hey, Bob, how you doing?" And Bob literally starts shaking in his chair. And he's like, "Oh my God." And you can see the tears start to well up on his face and stuff like that. And he
That's so cool.
Bob looks at me. He's like, he's just like, just in shock. And his Bob's wife is there, and the wife looks at me, and she's like, "I can't believe that you were able to get him to come over here." I was like, "No worries." And so I went. I stood by his manager lady, and her and I talked for quite a bit. She was really nice. Her and I actually hit it off pretty well. And so Bob got his moment with Vincent. So he just talked to him, and he pulled the poster out, showed Vincent, and Vincent really liked it. And Vincent asked him to if he could get a copy of it made, and he's like, "Sure." And Vincent's like, "Can you mail it to me?" So Vincent took Bob's phone and put his address and phone number or something in
Wow.
the phone, and said, "Yeah, go ahead, and if you mail it to me, go ahead and sign it. I want it signed." And Bob's like,
That's so
"Yeah."
cool.
Bob's all excited, and so he got his wife recorded it and put it on Instagram, I believe, or something like that, or most of it. And so he signed that, and then he signed the comic book and stuff, and just a great moment. Just something really neat to see my friend, get a bucket list moment to cross off his list. And especially like that, to where Vincent went out of his way to walk over and spend time with him, and really do something special. And this is kind of sad, but apparently Vincent's mother passed away just a couple weeks ago.
Oh
And
no.
so like his manager's like, he's doing great. He's really trying to, make moments for people, and the
Yeah.
opportunity like this means something to him right now in this state and stuff. So that's why he kind of wanted to do something special. So
That's really cool.
I really, if I get to run into him again, because he does do the con circuit now, and they invited me to come say hello anytime. And actually, I think that me and Vincent kind of hit it off. I think actually him and I would probably hang out, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
And like I said, his manager lady was very nice and stuff like that. So Kingpin, my salute to Kingpin. So
Right. Is that so? I saw on your channel on Instagram, you said if you get the chance to do something nice for somebody, do it. You never know how much that's going to mean to them. Was that kind of in reference to that moment, or was that something
That
else?
was exactly in reference to that, because that was actually, I was in the parking lot at the con, just sitting in I was sleeping in the parking lot because I left the Airbnb a little early, and I was just sitting there, thinking about, I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know if I walk up there and they would tell me, oh, no, we don't do that, or maybe I've talked to some celebrities that are like, tell me to go away, and stuff
Yeah,
like
like
that.
buzz off, huh? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like the guy that I can't remember. I don't know the actor's name, but he played the villain in Karate Kid, the blonde hair guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's actually kind of a jerk.
Oh well,
In
go
real life.
figure, huh?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sorry if he's watching. I'm sorry, but it was what it was.
Yeah,
But
well, you know.
I met him and went to introduce myself at the con, and he was really kind of standoffish, and is like, I'm like, anyway, it's no big deal. But this was the opposite thing. This was a total something above and beyond what I expected. And I just kind of I wasn't really nervous, but I didn't really know what the outcome would be. And because I think Vincent D'Onofrio is another level as far as probably your regular celebrity that you get at a con. To be honest, I'm
Yeah, no, he's. Well, I was on a different stream a little while ago. We were talking about Vincent D'Onofrio. Did you know he played Thor? Do you remember what
yeah,
movie he played Thor in?
yeah. That was
In,
Adventures
Ba-
in Babysitting.
in Babysitting. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, he's been around forever. He's one of my favorite movies. Actually, one of my favorite movies just to watch because I like it is Men in Black. And
Yeah. Oh
uh,
God, he's great in that movie.
he's just great. And even his tenure on Law and Order, I used to watch
Yeah.
all of those. And you know, like I said, I think he's a different level than like a Sam Jones. And nothing against Sam Jones, who played Flash Gordon, which is one of my favorite movies. But there's two different seats at that table, that we're talking about here. And so I think he's a A-lister type thing, and that's why I was a little surprised to see that he was at Washington State SummerCon. And the showrunner Steve, he can work his magic, man. He gets some pretty amazing guests at that con, so my hat's off to him as well.
He's got some pretty good range. I mean, he's played some villains. He's played some good guys. I mean, he's got good range. And oh my gosh, he's so menacing as the Kingpin. When
Oh yeah, well he did that movie The Cell, and
yeah, yeah, I was
man,
just thinking of that one.
what a mind trip that movie was.
Yeah, yeah,
He was awesome. It was awesome.
yeah, yeah. He's got some great range for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
and an amazing guy. And sounds like a super nice guy. So
Very kind, very very kind, very gentle. Kind of easy um, calmness about him. Not really. I got a chance to talk to Jesse the Body Ventura. I was there too.
oh
That
really?
was Yeah,
Nice.
that was a total 180 from Vincent D'Onofrio. You know,
Yeah.
and but Jesse was awesome to talk to as well, and he was really nice. Then I got a chance to kind of sit down and talk with a wrestler by the name of Adam Cole, and he's a pro wrestler for AEW, and he was in WWF for a while as well. So I got to
Cool.
get to know him a little bit because we were in the green room together, just kind of hanging out and one morning and stuff. And he was a really nice guy. And then he got sick and he couldn't wrestle on Sunday on the pay per view. He
Oh
was
no.
hanging out with me on Saturday afternoon, and then he got sick, and then he had to cancel the pay per view on
Oh
Sunday.
no. The Jesse the Body. I was thinking him in Predator.
Yeah,
His role in Predator. Ain't got time to bleed.
yeah, yeah. It was. I thought it was pretty neat just having him there. I was like, that's pretty awesome to see Jesse Ventura, come all the way here. And I talked to him, like I said, a little bit, and I just told him thank you for all the different chapters in Jesse Ventura's life. We've all kind of watched it. We've all been
Yeah. Yeah.
part the wrestling, the acting, the governor of Minnesota, and going from a wrestler to being a governor, is not a common
No
thing.
small feat. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and we've been along for the ride the whole time. And I was just like, thanks for letting us, see all these different chapters of your life and experience them, because, he's like, well, the chapters aren't done yet, brother. And I'm like, well, I hope not,
Yeah.
He's like,
There
there's
you
a
go.
couple more still to be written. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll look forward to those.
You had Starenko up there too, right? Did you get to talk to him at all?
No, I don't. I don't. He's been there.
You're not easy guy to get along with.
No, he's a talker, but
Yeah.
you got to pay to talk to him.
That's what I've heard. I've heard a couple people requested interviews with him, and he's like, I just, time is money.
Yeah.
You show me the money, and I'll come on your podcast or your show, and I'll talk. But
he doesn't do any panels when he does the cons. Like, he just stays at his booth. He won't leave his booth. And
gotcha.
I know this because last time he was there, it's the same thing. He won't leave his booth. He's always at his booth. He doesn't do a panel. And I have free reign at the con. I can request anyone, and they have actually been told to go to Bueller's booth. So all the creators there either have been told to come to my booth, or I'm the one that booked them to come to the show. So,
right.
Last year they gave me a list and said, pick the people you want. And I was like, Capullo, Snyder, and, and like, we're going to do what we can to get these people and stuff like that. They didn't get them all, but they got a few of the ones I picked. And
nice.
So that's one of the main reasons why I like this show, because I do have free reign to kind of talk to who I want and interview who I want. And then, I get along with pretty much everybody. I don't get too much resistance, to be honest. But the Starenko is a whole nother cat. It's like, it's $50 for a signature. It's $20 to buy a print, plus the $50 for the signature for the print. And, he's just, you'll get your money's worth. He'll sit there and talk to you for a half hour, but he was before my time, to be honest.
Right.
So as far as like, I have a couple of his books and stuff, but he was a
great artist.
He's an amazing artist, but he wasn't like my artist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My artist was during the 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Jim Lee or that kind of stuff.
That was more my speed and stuff and that type of thing, to where he was before that. And although I like his work, I think it's all great. He's not really like on my bucket list to kind of sit down and talk to. I'd much rather get a chance to talk to Larry Hama, which I did, which is great.
Yeah, how was that? I was pretty jealous of that. G.I. Joe's my jam, buddy.
You know what? It was, I don't think he liked me. It was just weird. It's like, we did a panel. Okay. I did this panel. It was me and him and Tim Seeley on the panel, and I'm the host. And of course, I'm going to ask him about G.I. Joe for the new, because they just announced the reboot and all that. Image got it, and
that's what he's known for. That's his big thing.
Yeah, and so like I'm like, hey, some really big news. G.I. Joe is coming back, issue 301 or whatever it is, with Image and Skybound. They bought the license. You're writing it. I go, what can you tell us? He's like, nothing.
Yeah. Nice.
No, really. I go, we're all really excited. He goes, I signed an NDA. I can't say anything at all. And he just shut it down. He wouldn't say a word. He's like, I've written a few issues, and that's about it. I'm like sitting there like trying to get something, and
he can't say something like, I'm really excited to get, back in the saddle with Snake Eyes and the crew or anything like that.
He
nothing, huh?
Everything down. And it was like, you know what? You guys are trying, Sleepy Reader, who just jumped in. That's so funny. I didn't see it until I just said that, but he was there at the panel. And he made a video just a little bit ago, because he was talking about the panel. It's like, if you're wanting to promote this book that's not too far away, you need to promote it and talk about it and stuff. He wouldn't say anything.
Hey, here's your chance. Isn't that they have a book right now that's kind of like leading into it, right? Like the Void Rivals or whatever.
Yeah, he didn't write that though, so I didn't really go there and stuff.
Right. It's going to be a part of that Transformers G.I. Joe shared universe thing, right?
Yeah, but it was really annoying that he just wouldn't give us anything at all, and people wanted to know, like, oh, this is, he didn't have to give us any plot points, but he could have at least, hyped it up a little bit,
Yeah, just to say a few words about, being excited to work with those characters, or,
And I tried to beat around the bush, like, oh, what would you like to do, or something, and he just wouldn't budge on anything. And so it was really it kind of pissed me off a little bit, because I was like, you got to give us something. You got to give us at least something.
You're
And it was almost,
stonewalling me here.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost like he didn't really want to be at that con that much.
Hmm.
He was okay with it, but and even my other interactions with him during the weekend, he was very short. I had him sign my book for me,
Right.
and Larry, and this was after I did his panel. I was like, Larry, thank you so much for the doing the panel. I go, will you sign this for me? He's like, yeah, and that was it. And he signed it, and that was our interaction, and
Huh.
it was hardly anything, and
That,
so I was like,
that sucks.
yeah. And then like earlier in the week, I was talking to him, and he just didn't really say much. He was just really quiet, and I was a little surprised because he was the one I was looking forward to interacting with and talking to, and I didn't even bother to ask him to come on the show, and do a thing, because he was just kind of a fussy lady.
Difficult.
Somebody else, a few other people asked him to come on like their podcasts that were there, and he said no. He's like, oh, I've done a bunch of those. I don't need to do anymore. And if he's not going to come on and talk about the new book, what the hell, what good does it do and stuff, and so it was a little discouraging to meet. Like Tim Seeley was the opposite. He was on the same panel, and Tim Seeley was great and interactive, and talked about his time on GI Joe and what he's working on now and his books and stuff like that. And I talked to him during the show. He was a lot of fun, and so I was hoping that Larry was kind of like that as well, but it wasn't meant to be. But I did get to meet him, and I did get to do a panel, so it is what it is.
So no Howard Chaykin like moments though either, right? Was it Chaykin that was following somebody's mom around? That
was my mother.
It was your mother?
Yeah, that was my mother. No, it's that was 2 years ago at the I call it the auxiliary Comic-Con that they kind of threw together because a few of the guests canceled, so they did a second one like a month later, and it was Howard Chaykin, myself, and Donnie Cates were the only comic book guests at this con. So just us three hung out all weekend, and it was a lot of fun. But Howard Chaykin just sat there and hit on my mom the whole time, and I mean, just literally like serenaded her, told her how beautiful her feet were, and she was wearing like flip flops and stuff, and oh, you smell wonderful, my lady. And I was like, what the hell, Howard? He's like, there's no way that's your
awesome. Mother. That's awesome.
And I was like, I go, yeah, that's my mother. I go, and she's married, I go, just like you are, Howard.
Oh my goodness.
And but the other thing is it's kind of an ongoing joke because his handler that was there during that time, he was like he remembers seeing all this as well. And he's a handler for many people. He's also a handler for Ming Chen from Comic Book Men. And Ming was at the Comic-Con, and he knows the story of Howard hitting on my mother. And because me and Ming are we've known each other now for a few years. So every time I see them together, they're always like, oh, how's Howard doing? Is he still bugging your mother? And I'm like, no.
You didn't give him her number or anything like that, right?
Yeah, no. That was a one-time deal and stuff like that. But they gave me a hard time at the con this past weekend too. So it was nice. It's always nice to see them. It's nice to see Ming, and it's nice to see the other guy and stuff like that, and kind of hang out. So Ming always goes to the summer con. I think he's been there 4 years in a row. Nice. And he came on the show, I think, on Saturday morning. And I think he's in a video. We did a video together too that I got to edit and stuff like that. So
cool. So yeah. we got CBCA coming up, right? Are you nominated for anything? Do you know, or
the awards?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't know. I hope not.
And I know you don't. Your thing is you don't really like push it, right? You're just kind of like if it is, it's gonna be, right?
Yeah. Well, the first year when they did it, I was nominated for the best show award. Okay, and I wanted to win it, but I didn't want to win it if I advertise it because I was like I knew my buddy Reggie was constantly advertising to his
Right.
audience. Oh, go vote. And
Reggie collects, right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's something you want to do, go do it. It's no big deal. But
Right.
he was like every video, like, hey, here's the link, go vote, for us, nominate us, and everything. And he won a bunch of awards the first year, but there was the category I wanted to win was the best show because I believe in the coffee and comic show at that time, and I knew it was the best show. And I tell people all the time, I go, I don't care what your show is, it's nothing was better than my show. And
Right.
I still say that to this day. I'll tell that to anyone, and if they want
No,
to.
you and Bob had some great chemistry in that show.
Yeah, I really think it was probably the best comic book show that's ever been on YouTube so far. And unfortunately, that show's over with, but there are 100+ episodes that people can go watch. And I think
Right.
a lot of it has to do with the chemistry I had with Bob, with the format of the show, and with the simple fact that it included the audience more so than probably any other recorded show that there was. Because it was all driven on people's responses to our question that we asked earlier in the week. So it had a nice variety to it. But
Right.
so I really wanted to win for the show, but I didn't want to advertise it. I just wanted it to stand on its own and win. And Bob didn't even know that we were nominated for it. That's how out of the loop we were. And
That's great.
and so when it won, I wasn't surprised. I was like, I would have been surprised if it didn't. And
Right.
it won. So it'll go down in history as the very first inaugural winner of the Best Show Ever award. And so I hold that over Reggie all the time. That even though you won 5 out of the 6, the one that you didn't win is the one I won.
Was that the one where he was saying anyone but Bueller, or was that the Lifetime one, Lifetime
No, that
Achievement?
was the one. That was the anyone but he's actually on the live stream as they're announcing the winner, begging it not to be me. I'm not even on the. I wasn't even on the show. I was watching it as an audience member.
Anyone but Bueller. Anyone but Bueller.
Yeah, the disappointment on his face was almost as good as the award itself, to be honest.
There you
And,
go. There you go.
and then last year I won the Lifetime Achievement Award, which I kind of knew I was going to win. I was like, if anyone's going to win a Lifetime Achievement Award, I just got done selling my house and traveling the country and doing something different. I think this is my year to win the Lifetime Achievement Award. If not now, then never. But I was nominated against Sleepy Reader, who's the guy who got my vote because I voted for it, and then Metarog, and I think Comic Tom was on there, and Gem Mint. I didn't want Comic Tom to win, and I didn't want Gem Mint to win. I know all these guys are all friends of mine, but I was okay with either Metarog or Sleepy Reader winning or myself. And
I think I put Sleepy Reader down for my nomination this year
yeah,
for Lifetime. Yeah.
and and like I said, he got my vote because he's been around a long time, and he's a good friend of mine, and he deserves it. So he if he's nominated again this year, he deserves the win more so than myself won or Comic Tom or Gem Mint. Some of the other guys have been around a little bit. Sleepy Reader's been around for 10+ years. So it's, when you're looking at a Lifetime Achievement Award, make it a Lifetime Achievement Award. I received it 5 years before I should have, but I was doing something kind of special, so I wasn't surprised to win it. But my award was special to me for the Lifetime Achievement Award. It was dedicated to Sam, our
Yeah.
buddy that passed away the year before, and Two Gun just mentioned Sam right there. But
Yeah.
that award to me represents Sam's lifetime achievement for doing YouTube and stuff like that. So that's kind of why it was important for me to win. And I think I had said that on a video before on someone's channel before. He'd asked me, he goes, do these actually mean anything to you? And something like that, these awards. And I said, you know what? I go, I understand what you're saying. And this award means something to me, but for a different reason than you might think. And I kind of shared with the whole thing about Sam. I go, that's why it's important for me to win, not for me. it's important for me to win, to dedicate it to Sam and give that moment back to my buddy and stuff like that, which I did. So if you watch that and you see if when I win it, I'm on the live stream, I give it this. It's for Sam. It's not, and I actually keep that one with me. The other one for the best show is in my storage unit. The Lifetime Achievement Award is actually on the bus with me, and I have a little thing on the bottom that says "This is for you, Sam," that I wrote on there. So
Did they give you 2 copies, one for you and one for Bob?
for the best show,
Yeah.
no, but I gave Bob the $100 gift certificate.
Oh, well, there you go.
So he made out pretty good.
He got the cash side of it, huh?
Yeah, I got the trophy. He got the $100. He's like, "What's this for?" I go, don't worry about it. So
that's awesome.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Good.
So speaking of Sam, I saw something on your Instagram? They made something or was it a comic that had mentioned you and it mentioned Sam right on the inside of the book or on the cover of the book?
There is a comic. It doesn't mention Sam, but there is I think is it a recent post I put a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, I had one of a writer dedicated a book to me, and
okay.
Said that, and I actually got to have lunch with him in, I think that was in Dallas. I think it was in Texas area. I'm pretty sure it was Texas, but he had written a book a while back, and it was an independent book, so it's not very widely available. And he wrote a few different books. He wrote one on postpartum or like PTSD, I believe it is.
Okay.
He wrote one on that we reviewed on the show that was really good. And then he's written a couple other ones. And this one that he wrote, he had it in there dedicated to Travis Noakes, which is my real name. And he wanted to give it to me and stuff like that and show it to me and stuff. He said, he goes, we talked about it. He goes, you really kind of helped me get through a time, during COVID, watching your show, you and Bob, just helped me solidify what I wanted to do and write comic books and stuff like that. And so I really wanted to dedicate one of my books to you. So I got a few different copies. My name's on the inside cover, dedicated to Travis. And
that's awesome, man.
It's really cool. I've been very, you met me very early on. So, I mean, you've kind of seen my evolution from the day I walked into your guys' office, not knowing what the hell I was doing. And,
right.
And kind of like, let's do this. I didn't really know. Yeah. And to now, here it is 5 years later. And, I've been able to not only keep doing this, but actually make a living and a career out of this. So it's really evolved. So I've gotten a lot of moments, over the last few years, pretty special, and some different directions that things have gone that kind of surprised me. And, having a comic book dedicated, that's another special moment, that I can, remember and stuff like that. So I
wouldn't trade it for the world, I bet.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just to know that, and I've been able to put some projects together for other creators and stuff like that in the comic book world, and that's been very special to me. Dream Master from Black Box Comics came together because I put the two people in the room together and made it happen. And to be able to kind of do some things like that and kind of be in the background. I don't want to be in the forefront of that stuff. Like, I have no desire to write my own book. I don't have any desire to do that stuff and be the face of whatever. I don't even like really doing any variants anymore, to be honest. It's not really, I like kind of sitting in the background and kind of seeing what we can do and put together as a community and stuff. So I get more joy out of that type of thing.
Mover and shaker.
yeah, it's kind of nice. I had a conversation with Sleepy Reader today because we had coffee this morning, and we were talking about YouTube. And I told him, I said, and this might come out the wrong way, and I really want people to kind of understand what I'm saying. YouTube's not that important to me anymore. And not the people that watch, they're important to me. But my goal is not to sit here and get a bunch of subscribers or make a bunch of content or do this and to grow I could care less if I get another subscriber for the rest of my life. I'm content with what I've been provided. I'm thankful for
You've
everything that,
done very well.
yeah.
So yeah,
I'm thankful for everything that's come my way. I'm thankful for Two Gun Pedro, for Hotkey, for Trade Paper Dad, for the people watching that watch my stuff. And I'm okay with it. I have no desire to man, I really want to get to 50,000 or whatever that goal is. I don't care anymore. I'm good. I'm happy with what I have. And
right.
my goal now in life is to enjoy what I have and go do things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah,
And so that's my goal. Other YouTubers kind of approach it a different way, and I
I see
just
that on your Instagram. You have that live your best life all the time, and
yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, you've known me for a while. You got to meet me when I was in that YouTube mode, and I
The
don't want to
building
take
mode.
away from that. I'm still a YouTuber. That's what I do, and I enjoy it. I don't not enjoy it. That's why it's kind of hard to explain this. I enjoy what I
No,
do.
it helps you get where you are, but
Yeah.
it's not the sole focus. You've achieved where you needed to get to, and now you're
Yes.
just kind of maintaining that and enjoying life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's to sum it up. You got it right there, and
yeah.
I'm very blessed to be able to do that. And so if this is the top of the mountain, I'm great. I'm okay with this. If this is the peak right here, I am. If this is it, I couldn't be happier.
Right.
So I don't want to push my luck, I guess what you say.
Yeah, and you got some stuff still going on. I mean, you just started doing with your son. You're doing your merch, right? Finally doing that.
Yeah, it took 6 years.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
think
cool stuff though. It's
I think
very
we
cool.
talked about that one time, a long time ago, about
A long time ago, I was like, man, you need to do merch.
yeah, and I just it's just never been my bag. I don't it's still not my thing. I'm actually it's my I gave it to my son. My
Right,
son handles everything. I don't even take any money from it. It's all for my kid.
yeah,
So it's all whatever is sold. He has it's his money. I said first I said, oh, we'll split it half and half, but after like 2 days, I was like, you know what? I don't want it. You can have it. And if it helps you out, whatever, buy your lunch or whatever you need or something like that, I'm okay with it. I don't need it. I'm good. And
right.
that's kind of why I didn't do it, because I was like, yeah, I know people want it, but I'm doing fine, and I really don't need to do it, and I don't feel like putting too much more on my plate. But if I have someone to do it for me, they can have it,
Yeah,
And
that's
so
what we talked about back in the day. You were like, I'm not really interested in having more piled on my plate, so I would need someone else that I can trust to run it for me. Yeah,
yeah, and that's I think we talked about the Bueller box at one time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and that was I don't know if I'd ever be comfortable with having someone else kind of handle that. I'm doing something with Hive now, but it's a total different type of box.
Yeah, I saw something about the Bueller Box Reborn kind of thing there. So
Yeah. So the only reason it's their box with kind of my endorsement is pretty much what it is, uh,
right,
because I had done a review on their mystery box a long time ago. We gave it like an A+. It was awesome. It wasn't purchased by us, so it wasn't loaded by any means. It was purchased by someone else that gave it to us to go to have on the show, so which is kind of nice. And it was just an awesome box. Then I did some research, and their boxes kind of trend that way. So we showed it on the Coffee and Comic Show. It went really well. They contacted me, and we became friends after that. And then like 2 years later, which is just over the last couple of months, we've still been in contact. But we finally, I asked them, hey, do you guys want to be part of the Bueller bus? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, let's start with the box. They got some other things down the road that they're working on that they haven't announced yet. So I kind of have to be closed-lipped on that. But they're official sponsors of the bus, and they're signed on for a year. And so I said, why don't you do your mystery box? I would have no problem promoting it because I'm a fan of it. You guys, the proof is there. And
right.
and if I endorse something, they kind of have to live up to that standard, because if they don't, if it's not, I'm gonna call them on it right live on my channel.
Right. Yeah.
If I put my name on it, it better be there, because if it's not, I'm going to say something. I'm not just going to let it fly.
We talked about people sending you samples of things, and you were like, "Are you sure you want me to review this? Because I'm going to be brutally honest, and I don't like it." And they're like, "Yeah, please review it." I was like, "Okay."
It's it is. I had I was telling you with Comic Pro line,
Yeah.
they sent me a bunch of their acrylic holders, which, I mean, you're familiar with this, obviously, and
Yeah.
I thought they were crap. I thought they were just, and
So they wouldn't fit a bag and board in the holder, right?
yeah, and I held off on doing the review. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they'd fix it or something like that, but they wouldn't, and they kept on hounding me for the review and stuff. So I said, okay, but you're not going to like it. And I made the review, and I was just like, I'll be honest, I would never buy this. I would not spend my money on this. There's a
Right.
flaw. There's a couple different flaws. It can be fixed. I tried to point out some of the positives, but for the most part, I thought it was garbage. That sounds horrible, but we both know.
Thanks for the free stuff. It's junk.
Yeah, I ended up giving it all away. I very rarely do I keep the stuff that I be
right.
And I think I gave a bunch of Sleepy Reader and my local friends or whatnot is the easiest way for me to get rid of stuff, because I don't have to ship anything or whatever. But yeah, just like, it's funny because me and Bob did a review on a torpedo mystery box, and this is like a couple of years ago, and it scored horrible. I mean, it was just we gave it an F. And we have I have a standard listing how to review a mystery box. I wrote out this form. There's like 5 different categories, and I gave it to a bunch of people to try it out. And I knew it was good when everybody came back with pretty much the same score within 1 or 2 points, or a 50-point score. And I'm like, this is a really good review form. I think Sleepy Reader saw it, and I think Two Brothers Comics and a handful of others saw it, and they reviewed a box. And like I said, it was within 1 or 2 points of my review. I said, this is a standard form that anybody can figure out and use it. And so that's how we did those reviews. Well, Torpedo Comics messages me like a month ago. This is like 2 years later after I did this video. And they're like, hey, I'm such and such. I'm the new marketing manager for Torpedo Comics. We came across your video, and we'd like to kind of make it up to you and stuff like that. And we'd like to send you some new boxes that we're doing. They said that they think that their boxes were sabotaged by a former employee at that time, that were just mailing out crap. And maybe that is the case. I don't really know. But I told him, I said, yeah, if you want to send something, I go, it wasn't my box. It was my friend John's. He gave it to us to review. So they sent me 4 boxes just the other day. I have 2 mystery packs and 2 mystery Power Rangers packs. I guess you can get themed ones. And so we're going to review those. I mean, I think me and Bob are going to review them while I'm in town and put something together. And, your first thought would be like, oh, they're probably going to send you a loaded box. And which is the worst thing they could do, because if you send me a loaded box and I review it and it gets a good score, that score has to hold up to the viewers, because I will call you.
Right.
If it doesn't live up to that, to my Two Gun Pedro who watched that video and went and bought that box, Two Gun Pedro will let me know, and then I will call Torpedo out on my channel and say, hey, you guys send us a loaded box. My other viewers purchased the same box. They don't measure up. So the worst thing you could do is send a loaded box. So I'm assuming they're not. If they are loaded, and if that's their standard, then that's fine. But if they're not, then they're going to screw themselves in the long run. So
everyone's going to expect the same content that you're getting, and if you get garbage, then you're going to be like, well, yeah.
So I mean, I would hope that a place like Torpedo Comics would realize that, and I'm pretty sure that they should be spot on. So he said, "What did he say? I will too."
You'll let them have it.
Their boxes were sabotaged, putting $15 on $20 stickers and $2 books to attain stated minimum value. Yeah, I mean, if you go back and watch our review on that thing, we tore it apart, and we followed the sheet, how I had it listed on the sheet. We graded every cat. We we grade shipping, we grade condition of the books, we grade value of the books. It's not just the value, it's like 4 other different categories, variety and stuff like that. And so you can get a bad score in one but score good in the others. It was a pretty well balanced scoring sheet. If I find it, I'll send you a copy. I think you'd like it and stuff.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. I know
I've got a couple of buddies that do mystery boxes, so that'd be interesting to take a look at.
When we started doing it, I wanted people to kind of use it as a standard to grade books, to grade a mystery box, and how it's laid out, because we did probably about a dozen boxes with this system, and they all were pretty much right on the money. I mean, there's no, it doesn't matter if it's your buddy's box, it takes all that out of account. It doesn't matter if your buddy sent it to you and stuff like that. There's no favoritism at all. It's just a standard grading form you would use to grade a mystery box from top to bottom, and it worked out really well. I think I spent like a couple days putting it together, and everyone I showed it to was like, "Wow, this is really good and detailed," and I like where you're going with that. So I'm looking forward to doing those and seeing how they go, and maybe they're better. I don't know.
Speaking of mystery boxes, did you see the Empire Comics? I guess he's a YouTuber, and he also did a lot of mystery boxes, and shockingly just like passed away the other day.
I saw that. I'm not familiar with him.
He's a young looking guy, and it said like he just passed away in the middle of the night. I was like,
I saw I think he had a couple kids and stuff like that,
Yeah, I saw they got a GoFundMe going on Instagram for him. So
yeah, you never know. It's we've lost a few people in the community. We lost we already talked about Sam, but we lost another couple people last year as well that were part of the community and stuff like that. So you never really know. So I mean, I value my time with everyone I get to either talk to in the chat or get to meet in person, especially meet in person. That's very special to me. And I try to, really enjoy those moments and try to make it so that they, I want them to feel important too. I don't want, people are like, oh, I can't, like Two Gun Pedro, I got to meet him in person. I really enjoyed meeting him, but I also wanted him he was excited to meet me, but I also wanted him to know I'm just excited to meet you as well.
Right.
It means that much to me, to be able to meet someone or just to hang out just for a few minutes or stuff like that.
And that comes full circle to the whole thing where we were talking about with being if you get the chance to do something nice for somebody, do it. You never know how it's going to affect them,
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I've changed a lot over the last few years, and just my outlook on life, glass half full instead of half empty type thing. And I really try to focus on the good things in life. I'm not really give the bad things that much attention because it doesn't do you any good, to dwell on.
I saw somebody was kind of ripping into you, and you just kind of said, "Hey, sorry, buddy, I don't know what's going on with you. You're having a bad day. I hope things get better for you." You didn't even like let it affect you.
Nothing.
Awesome.
I don't. I doing YouTube, you're going to get hit quite a bit, by just people being jerks and stuff like that. And it is what it is. I've had people threaten to come to my door and, shoot me in the face and stuff. I mean, it gets to that point sometimes. And
wow.
It was just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And it's all talk. It's all people behind a keyboard that can feel the need to write whatever they want, at the time. And I've run into people that have given me crap. And then I've run into them in real life. And it's like a 180. It's like, oh, hey, Bueller, how's it going? I'm like, didn't you just call me like all the names in the book like about a year ago? And now you're like, you need to hold your camera so you can get a picture with Joshua Williamson? What? And I'm like, so I'm like, well, whatever, it is what it is. So whenever I get a comment, I try to, first thing, I just kind of get a chuckle because it's like, whatever. I don't really think about it too much. But then I am a smart ass. And I like to be a smart ass, but a nice one,
Right.
And I do like to, bust some chops, every now and then. And you can ask Bob, I'm very cynical when it comes to stuff, but I'm kind. I'm not mean spirited at all. But I mean, if you're in a conversation with me, I'm gonna
Some good natured ribbing. Yeah.
dig into you a little bit, but not like not like a jerk or something like that. But I'm gonna have some fun. So
Right on. Did you bring some? You brought some books to show off. I saw your G.I. Joe #1 that you got signed. Did you have anything else?
yeah, I got 3 books signed at the con, and the other 2. This was given to me by Tim Seeley, and he signed it for me. And this is Money Shot Come Again. We had a great conversation about this book. And
Wow, that's a title. That's a title.
And if you see the little thing right there, it says "Call to Ass."
Oh, Jesus.
Money Shot Come Again. Call to Ass is the. And if you have this book, just open the first page. That's all you need to know exactly what type of book this is. But
all right.
Thank you for signing that and giving it to me. And then I think this guy's name is Michael Gertis. He's the artist. Is it Mitch? It's Mitch Gertis. And if I got his last name wrong, I'm sorry. But he's the artist for some of the Heroes in Crisis. And he's actually one of the main artists for DC right now. And I did his panel with him and Dan DiDio and someone else. I can't remember his name. The guy, the inker for like Secret Wars, whatever. So anyway, Mitch signed this for me and said thank you and stuff like that. So these are really the only 2 things that I got from the con, and they were gifts from the people that I did the panels for, stuff like that. So I always try to make a really good impression with them whenever I get a chance to host. As far as other stuff I got, these are things that were sent to me that were in my mail. I don't know who sent these to me. Maybe it says on the back because they're exclusive. So let me take a look. See if I can find Planet Brian Comics sent me this one.
Nice. That looks cool.
That's their exclusive. They sent a sticker on the bus. Actually, their sticker is the one that's already peeling off. So I feel kind of bad, but they sent me this one, and I believe these ones are from them as well. But let me double check. And I know another store did this one too because I've seen this cover before. Planet Brian Comics.
Nice. Looks like they get kind of a horror theme.
Yeah, and I think this is the same people. Yes. So this is Assassin and Son. Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Assassin and Son. And they sent me this, and
nice.
This is by Planet Brian Comics as well. So
does it say Scout Comics on the bottom too?
Yeah, it's a Scout Comics book.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one is a Black Caravan. I'm not tremendously familiar with them, but I've seen this book before at a shop in Texas one time, but I'm not too familiar with it. But it looks pretty cool.
Are those standard size books, or are they oversized?
No, they're standard.
Okay.
This next one's really good. This was actually a gift from one of my viewers. I call him Big John. He purchased this for me on one of my Dynamite auctions because Dynamite's a sponsor, and every Thursday from like 3 to 5 we do a auction on the channel. That's Western Pacific time, and they sell books. Now, one of their artists they have is Ken Hazer, and so John purchased this during the auction. And
nice.
This is a commissioned cover art by Ken Hazer. And so he purchased it and he sent it to me for like a Father's Day gift, which is really cool. So Spawn's one of my favorites. And Ken Hazer does a really good job. I got a couple pieces of his work. It's got a certificate on the back as well. I believe this is it's got his name on there. But yeah, it's really cool. He does a really good job.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and then my last thing I got was sent to me by, I believe this is the, I believe the author sent this to me, and he sent me some stuff in the past. I'm trying to find where it says his name. Mc Mc McArdle. I don't know.
Not
Anyway,
McLevin, right?
Steve McArdle, McArdle. It's called
Okay.
Vendetta, and holy Vindicator. I don't know what that says, but he sent this to me. He sent me some stuff in the past, and I think he's the artist and the writer for this. So this is the trade paperback,
Wow,
and
that's a thick boy.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think I have all the individual issues that he sent. It's in black and white and stuff.
Nice.
But it's put out by Floating World Comics, which is here in Portland, is the publisher. And
Yeah.
So you're familiar with them probably. You probably
Yeah.
yeah. So they moved into Lloyd Center. And they
Yeah, I heard that. They're down there and they've got the Frankenstein show goes in Lloyd Center now too, right?
yeah, so it's pretty cool. And but Floating World Comics publishes a bunch of independent publisher or writers and creators. So but every time when I get back, I got a nice little stack of stuff waiting for me. And then I got some like they're almost alternative to slabs that you put together. And
okay.
So they sent me a box of those to try out and kind of show. I'm forgetting.
Slab it yourself kind of thing.
Yeah, it's similar to that. They're really, really cool guys that kind of behind it. And it's called Crafty Comics. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all.
No.
Let's see if I can pull up their website. But I mean, their stuff is hardcore, man. Like this box they sent me was like 20 pounds, and these are like really, really thick comic holders and frames. But I don't know.
Put your comic in a brick.
Yeah, pretty much is what they are, and they're pretty cool. So I gotta spend some time with them and kind of give them a shout out and stuff like that because I talked to them, and they're very pro. Do it yourself as opposed to like CGC charging you for what their grade was and upping the price and all that stuff. So I think that's I've never liked that about CGC, how they charge you a percentage of what they decided what the grade is and the value of the book when they're the ones deciding the value of the book.
Yeah, so, I mean, and there's some psychology to like the heft and the weight of something equating to the value of it. That's why they put those, sports cards like a Mickey Mouse rookie card and a 3-inch thick piece of lucite because it feels heavy. So people go, oh, that's worth money. It's heavy. So
it's better to be a smartass than a dumbass. That's exactly correct.
There is some truth to that.
Truth. I do get to see Two Gun Pedro here later this month because he lives towards the San Diego area, and I'll be down there for the San Diego Comic-Con. So it'd be nice seeing my friend again.
And he does that. He has a YouTube channel as well.
No, he doesn't. He's been a active viewer of YouTube for many years, and he's been a very big part of just in the chats for everyone and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And I think he didn't show his face this whole time, so nobody knew what he looked like until me and him took a picture together, and he finally posted it on his Instagram with me and him next to each other. And I think that's the first time he showed his face was with me and him. So it was pretty cool to kind of see that and stuff. So, but he was a lot of fun. And we went to there was a comic shop we went to in San Diego, and then we went next door, and the comic shop owns the little shop next door, which is like a burger shop or hot dogs and stuff like that. And on their menu, they have the Bueller dog. And
there you go.
The guy that works at the shop, who's their grader and cleaner, he invited me to come see him, and he took me to lunch there next door and bought me a Bueller dog and stuff. So
is it appropriately named? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was very tasty. So
there you go.
But and then Two Gun, TC Rockets, that's right. And then Two Gun was there, and a couple of other people showed up as well, which is just great. And I had a really great time in hanging out with everybody. And the shop was really cool too. The comic shop there was really, really nice and stuff. So looking forward to going back. I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, so this will be my first year. and I'll be.
Me
I
neither.
guess.
My sister goes all the time, and she's like, and my sister isn't a comic person. She's just really into her daughters are into the cosplay and that whole thing, and they're into gaming and everything. So, but she's
Well,
like, you need to come, you need to come. I just never go.
I've never really had a huge desire to go just because it's so massive and stuff,
Right.
And I definitely
Yeah.
don't want to drive my bus down there. There's nowhere to put it and everything. So I'm flying down there. I'll be down there for a couple days. I guess I'm going to be on a panel talking about investing in comics, which should be very interesting because I'm probably not going to agree with everyone else on the panel.
Right.
And so that should be a fun watch. So if anyone gets a chance to watch that, you probably should, because I'm probably gonna shake up the cookie jar a little bit and stuff. And we'll see how it goes. I might make the headline at San Diego Comic Con.
You, you,
Bust
you
myth.
rebel rouser, you.
Yeah, investing
So
in.
I was on another channel, and speaking of like not showing your face, I was like, when I first started on YouTube, I wasn't showing my face or anything. I was just doing, I'd show the books on the stand, and I would do the shorts and everything. And we were talking about female viewership, and I'm like, my female viewership was like 35%. Then I started showing my face, and it went down to nothing.
Yeah, I wish I had more female viewership. That's the one area I still want to grow in YouTube, is the
Uh-huh.
female viewership. You dudes, you middle-aged dudes that watch me, give me a break. That was not the goal, but I thank you all. But I'd much rather have a bunch of ladies want my autograph than opposed to
uh, it's the numbers, they all count.
that is what it is.
So I was telling you I sold off a whole bunch of my magic cards, and I've been picking up some comics. So you and I haven't got to chat. I know you're not big into collecting, but I'll show you some books, and you can appreciate them, I'm sure.
I do appreciate books. I do appreciate good books.
So one of the books I picked up was Conan #1 in a 5.0.
Very nice. I know Sleepy Reader is putting together a run of Conan right now.
I saw a video of him and his some of his original artwork that he has collected of the Conan stuff, and it's just amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
He has a very elaborate original art collection. He doesn't show it off very often, so when you do get to see it, just know that you're only seeing a very small
Tip of the iceberg, huh? Yeah. And then this is an underrated book, I think.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, underrated, undervalued. I mean, very important book. And a 9.6, and I got it for a great deal.
Yeah.
A lot of these books I picked up from a guy I watched. He's up here in the Tacoma area, West Coast Avengers.
Okay, yeah.
And I picked this one up from my buddy Trav, just to have it. I mean, it's not that much of a rare book, but first Deadpool. It's not a great grade, but
you know what? It's a perfect grade. That's a Rob Liefeld grade right there.
Yeah, there you go. This one I got a great deal on, and I was super happy to get First Silk.
Oh,
9.8, signed by Humberto Ramos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it's a 1 in 100 variant. I may be off on the ratio, but it's the variant you want to get for first appearance of Silk. Also got a really great deal on this one.
What's that one?
This is Fantastic Four #6. It's the second appearance of Doctor Doom and the first supervillain team up in Marvel Comics. Yeah, Doom and Namor. So
not bad.
Yeah.
Look at all these big books. You're flexing on me, huh?
What's that?
You're flexing on me, huh?
No, I'm just showing you. I'm happy to be picking up some cool books. I just haven't been able to have. Well, I got rid of my collection a long time ago. My family got into some financial problems, and just now I'm finally being able to pick up some books. So I got this one from my buddy Travis over at Comics Limited, the Travis that you met at the comic shop.
Oh, cool.
Or the coffee shop. So First Phoenix and an 8.5. So I thought that was pretty sweet. And also from Travis,
Oh, that's a nice book.
yeah, 7.5 Cap 100. Love me some Silver Age books, that's for sure. And then I was telling you, I got that phone call where he was, or the text and the phone call where he was telling me he needed some cash. So this is one of the books that he sent me uh, the texts of. So we got Hulk 102.
I have that one.
It's a great book. I love that cover.
Mine's a 5.
Oh, you're better than me.
It's not even graded. I don't know what it is. That's pretty cool. I like that cover.
Yeah. And a 3.5. This is also from Travis at Comics Limited. And then anybody, the Kit Harington fan, this the first appearance of Dane Whitman. So we'll see if they can actually do anything with the Black Knight. And then the last slab here is Swamp Thing #1 and a 6.0. So I thought those were cool slabs to pick up. And then I showed you I had picked up some at just the right time, just before Across the Spider-Verse came out. I picked these guys up. So
yeah,
it's a sweet deal on those.
So do you like getting slabs? Is that kind of where you're going, or?
You know, I've never been a slab guy. I have a kind of a horror story when Trav was first. So I got back into books, and Trav was sending stuff off and getting it slabbed, and he said, "Hey, I've got some room in a submission I'm doing. If you want to send some books, I've got room for like 6 books." And I was like, I'm not really ready. And he's, "Oh, don't worry." A lot of what I was watching was saying you should always get your stuff cleaned and pressed before you get it graded. And he's like, "Don't worry, we'll pick out some books that we'll be sure you're going to get great grades on." And so we didn't get them cleaned and pressed.
Yeah.
I got one book that got a 9.8. It was the first appearance of Punchline, the sketch variant, the 1 per store copy, which was that's a cool book. And then I got one book that got, and you're going to say, well, it's a great grade. I got a 9.6 on the first appearance of Dazzler. But then I'm thinking, well, what if it was cleaned and pressed? Would it have been a 9.8? You know, so. And then everything else was just terrible grades. And I had sent in Dreamwalker #0, the first appearance of the Goon.
Mm-hmm.
I picked it up for a song at a place for like $5, and that's a pretty valuable book.
Yeah.
And they sent it back. They gave me an 8.0 on it, and they said, "Oh, it's got a finger bend in the cover," which I have pictures of it before I sent it in. So the grader, when they were flipping through, put a nice big finger bend in the cover. So it's just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, it was just a kind of a bad taste in my mouth for my first experience with getting stuff graded.
And that's why I've never gotten a book graded.
So here's another one I picked up, the gold version, the 1 per store Lethal Protector. That's
an awesome cover.
Yeah, and this was Dave at West Coast Day Avengers. He picked up a collection, a bunch of variants, and I don't know, I'm always, whenever he shows something and it's like the best book, I'm like, I want that one. Like this one from him as well.
Oh, cool.
He did a really cool thing. He did a weekend-long thing called DavengerCon on his channel, where he was on the air for, I believe, gosh, I think he was 16 hours a day on the air. He had guests. He had other people there. So they were selling books. They had guests. They had Jim Rugg and the guy who did Lady Mechanica. I can never remember that guy's name. They came on. They were great interviews and stuff, and had some great giveaways. But it was pretty cool that they did a deal like that, and he was able to pull it off. And then the rest of everything I got is a big stack of John Byrne, Chris Claremont X-Men, because that's the big thing that I'm wanting to focus on, rebuilding my X-Men collection. So I don't know if anybody else wants to see that. If you guys want to see more X-Men books, put it in the chat. But I'll go back to talking to Bueller here. I want to just be like flex, 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 flex.
I always like looking at good books.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to start rebuilding my collection. So
That's very cool.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, when I got back into comics, that's pretty much what I was doing too. I was like, okay, what did I used to have? What would I like to have again? And just started
Right.
good. What runs that I always want. And X-Men was a run. Iron Man was a run. So I started slowly putting those together. And then like I was telling you, um, I don't really do that anymore. But like I have a record of all the books I had now because of YouTube. Because I put videos together on my collection, stuff like that. So that's always
Nice.
there. I can always go and say, "Oh, here's my X-Men collection from my first issue to my last issue," so I can always reference that. And
Yeah.
and so that to me is enough. Um,
Yeah.
I've got the value out of them. I purchased them. I've sold them. I got the value out of the sale, and I had the memories and the video of having those in my collection. So I'm good. Just
Yeah.
it's a weird time.
Yeah. I did just get an Iron Man #1 uh along with some of those other books. So that was I've never owned a copy of Iron Man #1, and I went on a little tangent about how when I was in junior high school, there was a a mentor kind of guy that was through our church who was a comic collector as well, and he was so excited he picked up Iron Man #1 for $30, and we gave him such a hard time because back in the day,
Yeah.
the Avengers and Iron Man and all those guys were not cool.
Yeah.
Now they are, but how long were you guys out for?
For comics, out of comics, I'm
Oh,
assuming.
out of comics. Um, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm really back. But I'm into the stuff that is vintage, that is the stuff that I collected when I was uh had my shops when I was a kid. My buddy Trav at Comics Limited keeps me abreast of all the new stuff, and he really picks up a lot of those books and trades those to me. So I'll end up with a few newer books here and there in my collection, or I deal with a lot of shops that are small mom and pop locations, and they won't. They'll have overstock, and they don't want to like make it look bad in their store by blowing out. You don't want
Yeah.
your customers to be like, "Hey, I just paid $5 for that book, and now you've got it in your dollar bin." So they'll call me up and be like, "Hey, we've got 10 long boxes of books from the last 2 years. Do you want to pick them up for a pittance?" Like,
Yeah.
sure.
I didn't put them in Bueller boxes.
I did offer that to you.
I I
So
got
how
some
long are you?
I got some books from you back in the day that I filled some Bueller boxes with.
You did. I always made sure I hooked you up whenever I could.
Yeah, that was awesome. I got out of comics in probably '96.
Uh-huh.
It was probably my last hurrah was like at a Comic Con in Portland, Oregon. Went there, sold my whole collection, and never looked back. And then from '96 all the way to, let's see, I've been back now for 6 years. So 6 years ago. So what are we? 2023. So 2017.
Yeah, so you were out for about
20,
what?
30 years. Is that it? I
That's
don't know.
chunk of time.
No, maybe not 30, 25 years, something like that. So I really didn't look back. I didn't look back at all during that time. There was no like cracks in there. I just kind of moved it forward and didn't pay any
There
attention.
was something that was kind of almost like freeing when I was completely out. It was just like, all right, I'm done. I don't have to keep up with everything. I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to really get trapped in the whole new stuff thing. I'd rather spend my money on vintage books that mean more to me.
My books were replaced with diapers, and then I had to buy diapers instead of comics and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
no, that.
me, not diapers I was wearing, but for the kids that went away, just so people are just curious about that.
There you go. There you go.
A woman
Take
and
that visual out of your head.
women and children replaced the
Yes.
comic books. And then as the woman went away and the kids got older, things changed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there, like I said, there's certain things, priorities that take place, and I had almost a complete run of ASM, a complete run of X-Men. I had just picked up a super high grade copy of X-Men #1 when that financial stuff hit, and that was what was it, right during the housing crisis, and nobody was paying anything, and finally a shop referred me to a guy. They said, we know a guy who knows a guy who buys collections. And the guy met with me. He said, oh, so I understand you need X amount of dollars. And I said, yeah. And he says, all right, I'll give it to you. And I'm like, for the X-Men #1, he's no, for everything. And it was I mean, I think I got it was like $2,500 for everything that I had. So
yeah, I just sold. We went to at the time. I think we were pregnant with my first kid, probably about 4 or 5 months into the pregnancy and stuff. And me and my kid's mom went, and I still had a bunch of long boxes left, probably about 20 long boxes left. And I went to Memorial Coliseum here in Portland, and they had a Comic-Con, and I got a table, and we went and we sold every box. I sold everything for just pennies on the dollar. And then at the end of the show, I think I had like 3 or 4 long boxes left, and I just sold them to the guy next to me for $50. And we walked out and went down the street and bought a Kia Sophia. A brand new car. So I mean, that's pretty much what we did with all the money was to buy a new car, and which is great because we had a kid on the way and then another one not too far after that. So everything worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So
I wonder how many times you and I ran into each other at those shows, and it'd be interesting to be able to go back in time and see that, because we both were there.
Yeah.
Somebody brought up the fact that I used to do. We had a printing shop in my high school, and I would do artwork, and my buddy and I would do artwork and print our own comic books and sell them at the cons. And my friend Trav was showing on a show. He's like, look at this guy for $1. I was like, hey, that was like a printing press for free money. And I'd go there and do sketches and sign books. And
I started doing those cons at the Memorial Coliseum because I don't even think the Rose Garden was even made by then. I started doing those when I was 14 years old. And
same here. I think I was like 13, 14. Yeah.
Yeah. I had my first table, and I did it every year when they came in. Whenever I'd get the thing in the mail, I'd fill it out and send them my money and get a table. I was called, I think I called my shop like Fourth Dimension or something like that. Or Third Dimension.
I had these really terrible business cards that said Brian Combe, and then like in big giant letters they said dealer, and my friends were like, it looks like you're a drug dealer or something.
Yeah. I never went that far. I never got any cards made, but I did come up with the name and stuff like that. So whenever they'd send it to me, it'd say Fourth Dimension on it, comics. I think they thought I was a shop, but I was just some kid, and with in my room and collecting comics and stuff like that. So, but yeah,
I have a great story about with my, at the time I was a kid, I had a Pinto station wagon, and they wouldn't let you put anything on the wall for your books. You had to have, so I had this giant sheet of plywood that we had put, the layers on so you could put books on it. And we're driving down the I-5 freeway, and that thing was like a wing. It was lifting the car off the ground as we're driving to the show.
We had a Pinto as well. We had a Pinto station wagon.
And
it was like mustard yellow. And I remember loading that thing up with long boxes of comics.
Oh yeah.
Having my stepdad drive me down to the Coliseum to unload, and then they just leave. They didn't stay. I just like, oh, here you go.
Like, here you go, kid.
What time do I
make some money? Call me when you're ready to leave.
That's what it was. But no, it was a lot of fun doing that. I enjoyed it, and I probably did run into a lot of people. I didn't know who creators were back then.
Yeah.
I wasn't really. I was just reading comics and collecting comics. I probably, besides like Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, I probably couldn't tell you who a creator was at that time. But now
I remember Dark Horse was big, just getting off the ground back then. I remember meeting what's his name, Chris, the guy who did Black Cross, Chris Warner.
Yeah, Chris Warner. Yeah, he's local.
Yeah,
He did Predator or Terminator as well.
Yeah, he's a great artist.
Yeah, he was at he was at Fan Expo Portland earlier this year, I believe it was. So I got to talk to him and Randy Emberlin a little bit, who Randy kind of does the circuit around here all the time. So
Randy was if you're in the Portland area, Randy, people used to bring comics signed by Randy into my shop, and I was like, dude, this guy's at every show.
Yeah, he signs everything. Him and his wife actually ran a summer school art camp for kids to get into comic books and stuff. I was talking to them. They stopped doing it during COVID, and they're probably not going to bring it back up, but it was kind of cool. They did it for like 20 years and stuff. And I think Sleepy Reader's daughter went to one of the camps and stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take a second to pimp the hashtag comic book shout out thing that I'm doing right now. Anybody who's got a YouTube channel or is thinking of starting a YouTube channel, it's a great way to get started. And all you're doing is really shouting out the channels that you like the best, and you get a chance to win some cool books. There's a whole list of what you can win on my channel in a video, and you get some if you win the drawing each month. We're going all the way through Thanksgiving. You get a piece of original artwork with the character of your choice on it. So, and that's one done by myself and one done by Travis from Comics Limited. So I'm doing one right now for Mon Comics. He chose the Predator and Man Thing. So I've done a pretty sweet piece for him, but I can't show it on YouTube until he gets to show it off first. We decided that's the most important thing. And then the other guy was Romuel Comics and Food, won the piece from Travis. So I think he's doing a Daredevil piece for him. So
cool.
Yeah.
If I win, I want you to draw me a picture of Codpiece.
Codpiece.
All right. You know who that is?
I have no idea who that, but you can give me some reference.
He's a character. He's a character in the DC universe. He was actually on he's a friend of like the Doom Patrol.
Okay, I was gonna say, is he a Suicide Squad character or something?
Yeah. He's pretty much. He's got like stuff attaches to his junk.
All right. I would imagine with a name like Codpiece, he would have like different attachments for different situations.
It's a real character. I'm not making this up. This is in. And they actually had an actor play this character in the latest season of Doom Patrol.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I think I got the name Codpiece or whatnot. So I think
that sounds. That's what attaches down to the junk area.
Yeah. It's So anyway, that'd be kind of cool. So how long have you been doing the shout out thing?
We started it in May, and so we did our first drawing. We're doing the drawings on the 15th of every month. So that was our first drawing here on June 15th. And it was it's pretty cool, and people are really excited about getting the artwork, and now we're starting to have a lot of people who are participating are actually wanting to submit prizes to be added to the current pool. So Mon Comics got a 30-year-old double action figure 2-pack that has Bishop and Apocalypse in it, still in the package. So he's going to add that to the drawing for prizes. So
cool.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol number 70, volume 2. Apparently that's the
first appearance of Codpiece. All right.
Did you send that to me too, Gun Pedro? Is that somebody sent me the copy of that book? It might have been Two Gun Pedro. No,
That's your spec.
Let me know if that was you. I know somebody, Two Guns, he sent me some really cool stuff in the past and some really cool Shannon Mir covers. And somebody sent me the Doom Patrol first appearance of Codpiece. And I'm starting to think that it was Two Gun Pedro now that I remember. Because he remember, yes, I knew it. Yeah. It's an interesting book. And I was on Robbie's channel on Pop Culture Philosophers, and we were doing we were putting together like our dream team for like X-Men or Avengers or something like that. And of course, I don't ever take that type of stuff very seriously when I do stuff like that. So I had like really bizarre characters on there, and like Codpiece was like my leader, and you could pick anyone from comics. So like I had like Captain Jean-Luc Picard is like my head of the Avengers. I had like Darkwing Duck and a bunch of stuff, and they're like, what the hell? There's one character that's just the torso. I can't remember his name, but he's just a torso with underwear. I don't remember the name, but that was like my main, superhero.
So you really put some thought into this, but not in the way that they were wanting you to.
Yeah, no, I really did. I put massive amounts of thought. I did research and I got images for all the characters. I was like the only one showing images and all this stuff, but it was all just off the wall characters that are just the weirdest things ever. And I don't know what the character's name, but he was another Doom Patrol character with just the legs and the dirty underwear and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had fun, and like Galactus was like our main character for like the I think it was X-Men or something like that. So I made Galactus like the head of the team, and the people just sat in his hand and stuff, and so that's cool. Yeah, he Two Gun would watch those, and I always made it a point to just like go out of my way to just come up with the weirdest characters
to make a mockery of the situation.
Yeah, Robbie took it seriously, and like putting together, like he would think it out and put it serious and really get into it. And I would just go the opposite, put just as much time and effort into it, but the opposite direction. I wanted the people watching to kind of have some fun with it and stuff like that. And I think
people, awesome.
People did. So
then you gotta see, like, you gotta think about how each team would fare up against each other, right? So
yeah, like I had like prostitutes that were like superheroes, but their day job was like a prostitute and stuff.
The pro.
Yeah, it was just stuff like that, just like it was just off the wall things, and
The Pro is actually a really good book if you've ever read it.
And probably I've read a couple different versions of it, but probably not the main one. So, but yeah, I had that idea to put those hero teams together, and we did like 3 or 4 different videos with like 4 or 5 of us that were on there. It was me, Bob, Robbie, and I think of the kid from Hero in the Con or whatever. I can't remember his name. And then someone else maybe. And I just went all out as far as trying to make it as dumb as possible. That's what I do.
That's great.
How can I make this as dumb as possible?
This is Bueller's theory on life.
Yeah. But it'd be so neat to watch just Robbie just really have these elaborate explanations why he's picking this character and like really thought and like, oh, it makes sense. And then I'm like, yeah, Codpiece is my go-to. He attaches things to his junk, and here's a picture of him,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I think Bullseye Bob hosted it on his channel. That's right. Back when he would do content and stuff, I still give him a hard time. I said, come on, Bob, you need to make more stuff. So
he's pretty sporadic right now, but I know he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. So
yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's not there's other things that he needs to take care of. So it's not really And I
And
think,
like we were saying priorities, right? And like you were saying about how YouTube, where it rates in your list of priorities right now, there's, Bob has his own priorities that he has to take care of.
yeah. And I think a lot of it also had to do when I left. That kind of, he's like, oh, he doesn't really have the motivation to do as much as he did before because, him and I talking about doing shows all the time and doing the show every week and stuff like that. So I think when I left, I think he was kind of, oh, okay, maybe, you know, it's take a step back and do some other stuff. So
Yeah. Well, and he got the house too that they had a lot of things to do with that and everything else too. So
yeah, it was all my fault. Sorry.
it's all on you, man. You
Yeah,
left, you put him in a house. I
I
mean,
tried.
what's the guy gonna do?
I tried to, not leave the guy empty-handed. So I was like, "Here's my house for a really good deal." I mean, he got a sweetheart deal on the house. By the way, I mean the actual monies that he paid for the house. He's aware of the kind of deal he got and stuff, and he's very grateful. So, and I'm very happy that he's the one that got it. So,
Well, you guys have a great friendship, and I mean that's awesome. And like I said, the chemistry you guys had on your show, it was very apparent that you guys had much brotherly affection for each other.
yeah, and that I just published that as you were showing your books, I just put that video on the Mile High Comics tour live on my channel, so it's available right now. You guys can watch it when we're done here. But on that video, Bob joins me to do commentary on the tour of Mile High Comics, and just like wearing an old hat, just we sat down for 40 minutes and just laughed most of the time, and had a good time.
Right.
Give each other a couple of ribs here and there and stuff, and just, it's a nice little team and stuff like that. But so go check that out when you get a chance. And I think a lot of people are going
For
to
sure, yeah.
like the tour of Mile High Comics, because that's a bucket. If you're a comic book collector, that should be on your bucket list. The prices are very expensive. Don't go in there, oh, I'm going to buy a bunch of books, unless you have the money to burn. You're not going to get any good deals, but on your bucket list, if you're a comic book collector, should be to go to Mile High Comics at least once. And
I've watched interviews with
Chuck.
Chuck, yes, and he's like, I don't have any motivation to be that guy that's rushing to be the lowest common denominator. You guys can all go and lose money on your books, and I'll be here later on when the books are worth the money. And
Yeah. Well, he doesn't like. I mean, we point out on the video, like I show some close up of some books that are like, there's a $75 price tag on it. It's maybe like a $5 book, and
wow,
and not that that's the norm. I don't know what was going on there, but there's a few books like that are, 3 or 4 times what the price is. And talking to Chuck and just him sharing his philosophy, I don't think they probably sell a lot of books at the store, in store. I don't think people go there, oh, I'm going to finish my run of G.I. Joe. Because if they do, they're going to be paying just an enormous amount more than what they should be paying. I think the majority of the money that's made from that store is big sales, like of big high dollar books that are private sales to really high end collectors. Refer to
right,
them like, hey, I need to get a copy of X-Men #1 for $250,000. Do you have that book? And they're like, yeah, we do.
yeah.
And so I think that's probably the bulk of their sales, is that it's not the $5 filler book that's a run filler that you're looking for. Because when I was there, it wasn't really that busy. I think there was a lot of people that are in there just looking around, kind of like what I was doing.
It's a destination. It's like a Disneyland kind of thing almost, right?
Exactly. I spent like $20. They had like a bin of $3.95 books that were all pretty much dollar books, and you could buy 7 for $20. So I bought 7 of those just because I wanted to buy something from there.
Isn't that what they call the Sea of Comics? They have like the big giant area in the middle. Yeah.
Yep, right in the middle there. And I think I bought some Max books, because I'm trying to put together a small Max run and stuff. And
I just picked up a bunch of those books at the end of the run, and those are actually quite valuable. The last books in the run, because they're really low print run.
Yeah, very low. So if you find those, pick them up. And you will find those. Those are books that you can find out in
Yeah.
the wild because people just don't think to pick them up. But they are a very short print run, and
Yeah.
I've picked up a few of those too in the dollar bins. They're like, oh,
Yeah. I think I picked them up like $3-4 a piece, and they're booking 15-20 bucks a piece. So I was like, yeah, why not?
and that price is all based on this just the amount of low print that they were made for those.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot of that stuff that's starting to come out of the woodwork of like things that, well, like there's I think a real good spec book right now is the Punisher issue where he gets the War Machine armor, and the second printing of that book, I think it's got a Tim Bradstreet cover, and it's like less than 2,000 copies printed of that book.
yeah.
So
So I that's funny. I've been pretty high on that run of the War Machine arc from the
yeah,
very
yeah,
beginning. And as my travels over the last year and a half, that's the books I look for. I look for those every time I go to a shop, and I find those all the time. And
really,
every book from that little arc has some value. They're all very short print runs.
yeah,
They range anywhere from $50 to $60 to about $10 or $15, depending on the issue from that arc. And you
yeah.
can find those. I mean, I've picked them up, so I've cleaned out some states picking those up. But at the time I had multiple copies of almost that entire arc.
Well, if you
Because
find those second print, the first issue and the second issue, I'm interested. I don't have one right now.
I've
But
sold them all. If
yeah,
you go back to my auctions, every auction I've ever done, I've had those to sell. And because I find them and people just overlook them, in the
yeah,
bins.
yeah.
And that book was on my pull list when it was coming out, and I really liked that story arc. I thought it was really
Oh,
good.
it's a great story. Yeah,
Yeah, and then to see that the print run was so low on it, and then it kind of got some traction and stuff. So if you're just looking for, they're considered volume 1 Punisher or volume 2 or volume 1 ongoing Punisher is what they're considered because they're in the legacy numbering on the book. So sometimes they
oh,
get
okay.
misplaced.
Yeah, I know. If you look for them on Key Collector, you have to actually look under Punisher War Machine. They don't even actually list it on Key Collector anymore. But
It should be under the first run, or not. The first volume is the 5-issue arc. Okay,
right,
that came out. The second volume, which is the ongoing series, they're listed under that one, but there's a big gap. Like you go to
yeah,
100, and then there's no books, and it skips to 200, and you'll find them in there.
yeah,
And I believe that's how they have it listed. I'm gonna take a look here. See if
yeah.
they-
So Biggie, I was just talking with Bueller. My wife was having me do yard work in the scorching heat out here, and I said, "Woman, you'll be the death of me." And Bueller told me, "That's what they're for."
I didn't say that.
Renee, he never said that.
Yeah, so they're listed on that run. So
Oh, are they? Because for a while there, they had pulled them down. Yeah,
yeah,
they were just, you had to specifically search for
yeah.
Punisher War Machine.
It's
So
funny because the issue before that is issue 104, and that came out in 1995. And then the
yeah,
next issue listed is issue 218, came out in 2018. So
but I
it's
can totally see that in the MCU with Barenthal's Punisher character,
absolutely.
finding a truckload of weapons and opening up, and there it is, the War Machine armor inside,
And
and
then
he's
they got
spray
some
painting the
really,
Punisher
really,
logo on it.
really cool covers too. Like I like that's let's see if I'll show it like that cover right there.
Yeah,
That's a
that's an
great
awesome
cover.
cover.
That one they
This
have
is the one with him and Iron Man on it.
yeah,
Iron Man.
very
Yeah,
similar. But yeah, that's a good series to look for because I think those books get overlooked. And any book in that arc, I think it's like a 12-issue arc, is worth picking up. They all, even the common ones, sell for like $10 or $15
yeah, yeah.
for that arc because they were just less than 20,000 or so printed for those. But yeah, those you can find. I find those regularly, pretty much all the time for the most part. But I
The
go and
super low print run on the second printings for the first two issues, like under 2,000 copies.
oh yeah,
So yeah,
I'm surprised they went to a second printing.
yeah. I mean, but yeah, you look them up. I mean, when you look at that on Key Collector, you go to the variants, and it says like, yeah, like the print run was stated print run like 1,947 or something. It's like, holy
I can
cow.
I can guarantee you some of those books were in those early year Bueller boxes,
Oh wow.
without a doubt. I know that there was I sent out probably a couple dozen Something Is Killing Children #1s
Oh my goodness.
back in the day, and the first few issues of those, because I got them from Tfaw in the grab bags for
That's crazy.
$3 and stuff, and I just threw them in the Bueller boxes, because they have so many, and Tfaw, they don't sell back issues and stuff. So I would just pull them out of there, put them in the boxes, ship them out, and here, that's a very expensive book. So there was
It's
some.
the when I was buying the bulk books from the local mom and pop places, they're like, I've had some boxes where I open up and I go, holy crap, there's 25 copies of the first appearance of Swordmaster in
Yeah,
here. Or there was the Edge of Spider-Verse, the one where it's Miles punching up and it has like 30 different characters on the yellow cover. It's like $100 and something book was in there, and a batch of books that I paid $0.25 a piece for. It
yeah,
was like, oh my goodness. But
yeah.
yeah,
I like paying $0.25 a piece.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, they just stuck them in boxes and not, they don't deal in back issues or anything. So it's just
Yeah,
like, okay.
that was when I was doing the Bueller boxes. I was able to keep. I mean, people were like, "How come you're selling these for so cheap?" Because I was selling literally Bueller boxes anywhere from $10 to $15, and
Uh-huh.
that's how much they were. And but I was still making money on them because I was able to. For one, at the time where you were at, I was getting my supplies. So
Right.
those didn't my supplies didn't cost me anything. So I didn't have that cost, which was great. And I was getting books for like $0.25 a piece. So if there's 10 books, my cost is only about $2.50, $3,
Right.
for the books themselves. And my only really cost was buying the Gemini mailers.
Yeah.
That I was shipping them out in and stuff like that. And but everything else was pretty much paid for. So I was actually making, either my cost is like $4 on a box.
And people
And
were like, those things would go up and be gone immediately. I remember that.
yeah, and they were worth it. I never had anyone say, "Oh man, I wasted my money on a Bueller box," and because you get like 10 books, a little bit of mixture of new stuff and old stuff, and the new stuff was literally stuff that's still on your shelf at the local comic shops for cover price. You know,
Right.
because
Right.
of because of and that's because of the deal you guys had going on, and then because of TFA didn't sell back issues. I mean, if it sat on
Right.
the TFA shelf for 2 months, they put it in the grab bags, and the grab bags were $4.50 or whatever plus my 25% discount.
Right.
And that was about like when Action Comics 1000 came out, or Detective
So
Comics
you get so you get how many books in the grab bag for 450?
10.
So, wow.
But I get my discount, so I get them for like $3.35.
Oh my. So yes, you're saying 37 cents a book, and
Yeah, and
then
sometimes they'd have sales, and I'd get them for like $2 a pack and stuff. And but
so
they use
crazy.
clear plastic bags. So I mean, I sit there and like, oh, here's 50 grab bags. Every one of them has an Action Comics 1000 in there, which is a $10 book cover price, still sitting
Right.
on the shelf at most shops. I'll take
Right.
all 50. I used to buy everything. I'd walk in there, and they knew me. They'd be like, "We don't have any grab bags."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Let me know when you guys put them together, and I'll come get them." And I would just wait until they'd call me up and say, "Yeah, we got a bunch we just put together." But okay, I'll take pretty much all of them, and I'd buy every one of them, and they were worth it because like I said, TFA didn't care if it was a key book. You know, they could care less. So if, that's the first appearance of whoever, they don't care. If they have them, they just throw it in there. You know, and like Immortal Hulk #1, yeah, there's 40 copies of that we got sitting in the back. Yeah, we'll just throw them in the mystery boxes or the
It's
grab bag.
if it's well, yeah. I mean, they could have made more money off it, but if it's just sitting there and they're not able to move it, then
Yeah, they don't do mystery bags anymore. I did a
Oh,
video once, and I told people about the mystery bags, and I what I got. I was showing like a mystery bag I got from Tfaw and how much I paid for it. And this was like they had a sale that week, like a $1 sale and stuff on their website. And you know,
Uh-huh.
is the website is right there next door to the store as far as the warehouse. It's just right there.
Right, right. Yeah.
And so I go in there like the next week, and I'm sitting there and I'm buying. And this guy walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, I work in the warehouse next door." I go, "Oh, hey, how are you?" He goes, "Are you the guy that told everyone about our gift?
Oh
that told
no.
everyone about our grab bags? Because I run the website. We've been getting emails asking for grab bags." He goes, "We don't sell the grab bags and stuff." I go, "Oh, I'm
Oh
sorry.
no.
I didn't specify that you don't sell them online." He
Oh
goes,
no.
"We've been bombarded with emails and calls about buying the grab bags because of your video." And I'm like, "You're welcome." You know?
They're such a big company that, like, I mean, back in the day there was a big scandal where their warehouse guys were running a sale. They were selling statues and such on eBay and shipping
Yeah.
them right out of the warehouse, and they had no idea.
Yeah.
Um, and they were, pocketing the money.
Yeah. I think I've probably ran into those guys back in the day, and stuff. And because I've been going there for so long, but I've been able to, when they liquidate, they liquidate. They
They
just
don't
don't,
mess around, right?
they're like,
Right.
"You don't want it, let's get rid of it." I remember I walked in there and like they were having a dollar sale, and they have stuff in the back. They don't have everything on the floor. So even though they might not have it on the floor, it might be sitting in a box in the back. And this is a while, and I think they had a what's that one? A Noctera book, which is kind of got an option. It's worth like 10 or 15 bucks. They had
Yeah.
a they had a long box full of number ones,
Oh my
just
goodness.
sitting there for $1 a piece. I bought like 20 of them, and
So they used to
just
have an annex store, I guess, and I had a buddy who used to go there, and they would play Hero Clicks and all that kind of stuff there. And
yeah.
they would let certain people come in and just pick through the back issues and fill up a long box for like $10 or something. And he said that there was a guy that was coming in, and he'd be like, "All right, one more long box." He starts trucking it out to his car, and finally the guy was trucking these long boxes out, and they finally stopped him, and he had filled the long boxes with trade paperbacks.
Oh, really? They didn't even look.
Yeah, and this is like he'd been coming there for like weeks, and he was just putting like, yeah, just filling them. They're like the one that they stopped him with. It was full top to bottom with Lone Wolf and Cub
Oh
trade
yeah.
paperbacks. Yeah, so
I used to get Bruce from Comic Adventure used to sell me a long box for like out of his 50-cent books and stuff.
uh-huh.
And I can't remember. I think it was like 80 bucks or something like that. Man, I would pack that thing so full of 50 cents and stuff. And
Yeah,
he never knew too much like current keys and stuff like that. So I would find stuff in there that was just like $10, $20 books. And he eventually got really pissed because he's like, "Oh, what's this? A box full of keys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
yeah. But it's
And
from your 50-cent bin, so
yeah. And I'm like, "Sorry, man." And but I used to do that quite a bit when he was doing that back when he would let me go into the store.
I was just on Bleeker's channel this morning in the chat, and I was telling him about there's only one shop up here where I live, and I went in there right after I got back into comics, and the first thing the guy says to me when I walk in the door is, "We don't have any keys," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay," and he has half the boxes, more than half, probably 80% of the boxes are covered with flattened diamond boxes. So you can
Mm.
only go through a few boxes. And I said, "Hey, I'm just jonesing to dig." And so I started looking through, and I found a couple keys, and I found the Moon Knight #1, where it's just his eyes on the cover.
Yeah.
And I was like, it had speckles like of black, and I'm like, is that part of the artwork, or is that a printing flaw? And he just looks at me and goes, "I don't know." And I was like, okay. So I pulled out my phone and I started to look it up to see what the artwork was supposed to look like. And he screams at me. He's like, "No cell phones allowed in my store." I was just like, I'm just looking up the artwork to see if that's a printing flaw. And so I found a few books. A couple of them I found like 2 copies of. I brought them up to the counter, and he's like, "You're not allowed to buy more than 1 copy of any book in my store, otherwise I know you're ripping me off."
Wow. What store was that?
The store is called Vista,
Is it still
and
there?
it's been around. It's the only one up here in the area. And
I'm gonna
yeah,
have to visit.
the guy's a piece of work. So
I'm gonna go
yeah, he
visit.
said you're not allowed to look at your phone to pick out keys. And so I came in another time. He told me that I smelled like cigarette smoke, and then he was going to puke. And I had 3 minutes to make my selection and get out of the store. I don't smoke, guys. I was like, well, it does smell like smoke in here, but it's not me. And so I knew which bins were uncovered. And
Yeah.
I went home and I got on Key Collector, and I took a piece of paper and I wrote down every issue that was a key. And I came back and I said, I'm just filling some holes in my collection.
Yeah. No, it's it's the comic shop owners, so you can get some weird ones, man. There's I mean, it just I've met some bizarre people, and comic shop owners are no different. So it's a eclectic group of people that you get to meet.
Yeah, he's a piece of work. And when I went to check out, he told me he had a whole bunch of guys in the store, and I put the book down, and he says, he leans over the counter and he says, "I know you're ripping me off." I'm like,
Absolutely.
he's like, "I'm going to charge you for every bag and board on every one of these books."
Uh,
And I was like, "Okay, fine." And I haven't been back since. But
yeah. A lot of shops don't even put their keys on the floor. It's all just, I'll go to a shop and they'll have a whole section behind the counter, and it's all anything like over $5. That's a key or whatever, and they just have the regular filler books on the floor and stuff like that. And so I've seen that quite a bit.
yeah,
But
and there's the whole thing with the pricing the books at the counter and all that. I hate that. And I remember when I got back into collecting, you had a video out about the people pricing books at the counter, and I went the first time I'd been into a shop. I flipped through their Amazing Spider-Man section, and they had ASM 298 and 299 for $3 a piece.
yeah,
And I looked at them and I said, "Are these prices right?" And they said, "Oh no." And I go, "Okay, here it comes. They're going to tell me that they have to price everything at the counter." And they said, "We're having a sale right now. Everything's $1 off."
oh cool. I was at a shop in it was Texas, and I went there and they had a sign up. I posted on my Instagram. It's a sign saying, "Hey, a lot of our books don't have price tags on them. We're busy, and we reserve the right to price them at the register." So exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so
Oh, I saw that sign. You had that sign you posted, right? It
yeah,
asked the question.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, that thing right there. So I posted that, and I don't like that practice. I think it's a horrible practice and stuff. So anyway, that post got a lot of traction. There was a lot of people commented and a lot of stuff. A lot of people disagree and everything, or agree with my thoughts on it and stuff like that. So the next day, I'm still in town going to the comic shop, and I'm meeting my buddy at a comic shop, and he's going to introduce me to the owner and all this stuff. It was their store.
Oh no.
They had 2 stores. So it was
Oh no.
their other store. And so I go to this other store, which is the same. They have the same thing. They have the same poster on the books and stuff like that. And he's like, "Oh, I want you to meet Bueller and all this." So I'm talking to the owner and stuff like that. And luckily, he didn't see my post, or didn't know what it was and stuff like that, because it's kind of a lot of negative things. And I asked my friend, I said, "Did you see my post last night?" He goes, "Yeah, I saw it." He goes, I almost told you to go somewhere else." I feel kind of bad, but it is what it is. And I go,
That's a terrible way to do things. I mean, when I had my shops, if I priced something, I priced it and put it in the bin, and I was making a profit on it based on what I priced it at from what I purchased it for. So if you're going to get over on me and make a profit, good for you. I'm happy for you. And if I'm going to do that changing the price at the counter, yeah, I'm penny wise and pound foolish. I'm never going to see you again. You're going to be mad at me, and you're never going to come back. But if I let you, come in and dig and find some great deals, you're going to come back and spend money over and over again.
Sure. And I think, that was pretty much most people's comments on the post were something similar to what you said. And so I'm like, I told my friend, I said, I hope the owner does see it, because I mean, this is your clientele voicing their opinion on a practice. And if this is your practice and you see all these people that don't agree with it, these are the same people that are walking into your store on a daily basis, walking in, seeing that sign and walking it right out and not saying a word. And you don't know any better. Well, here's your chance to say, whoa, the common consensus is maybe that's not a good business practice. Maybe we should stop doing it. And so hopefully they saw it. I don't know if they did, but maybe they can teachable moment,
Yeah. No, I agree. Jesse says, my mother always said, leave some meat on the bone and people will come back. That's true. I mean, you gotta know your audience and what they're after. I mean, and for the most part, collectors are after getting a good deal. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. It's a treasure hunt, right? A lot of times is trying to find that deal, and for people to spend hours and hours digging through your dollar bins or whatever, and then you say, I'm going to price it at the counter. That's terrible.
Yeah, because how do you know you're getting the same price that the guy before you got?
Right.
One guy said, "Oh yeah, this is $20," and the guy before me was offered $15. So it's like, okay, it's just dumb. It's not a good thing to do. So I don't run into it very often, but when I do run into it, I try to post it and say something or whatnot. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I ran into one shop that had that practice, and like the owner was standing right next to the sign the whole time. So I just laughed. That's not about it. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, what did that sign? The sign said something like, we get in so many collections so frequently that we don't have time to go through and price everything. In order to service you better and give you a greater selection of books, we just throw everything out on the floor and you guys pull what you want and we'll price it at the counter. I mean, it was goofy.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, like I said, I don't see it very often, but when I do, I don't buy anything from those stores. I'll see that sign and just turn around and walk out. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, and like you said, they should be aware of what they're doing to their clientele. But
I'm just here to help. That's all I'm doing.
I'm telling you what's going on and what's going through people's heads. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Bueller, I'm sure you've got other things to do with your day, and rather than sit here and talk to me, you getting hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry.
You get hangry.
I don't think I've eaten anything today.
Oh my goodness! Well, you're at the coffee shop. You drank some coffee, right?
Yeah, they gave me some coffee, and I think I had a part of a donut, a day-old donut, but that was about it.
There you go.
I don't think.
Well, I just want to say thanks to everybody for showing up and being part of the chat and listening to Bueller and I ramble and reminisce. And hopefully we'll be able to do this again sometime soon.
Yeah, man, this is fun. Anytime I'm available. I tell people all the time, I'm not as busy as you think I'm busy, but I like that illusion that I am.
Yeah, you guys don't know. Like Bueller and I are so easygoing. I was like, hey, when would you like to do that? Just get together and hang out and chat. And he's like, anytime. And I'm like, well, I'm available anytime too. And we're just kind of like, finally, I was like, how about 3:00 today?
Yeah. It worked out. So, no, man, I had fun, man. This is, I always enjoy getting the chance to talk to friends and sharing our love of comics with the people taking their time to watch.
That's true. That's my ending catchphrase is always share your love of comics with everybody that you meet. You never know where it will lead you.
Like a woman.
So, a woman. There you go.
Fingers crossed.
Somebody Two Gun says, Bueller, when was the last time you had a Taco Bell chalupa?
So that's funny you asked that. I was at my dad's, and I was staying at my dad's last week house. Okay. And my stepmom, and then whenever I stay there, they didn't normally make dinner and stuff. And they cook really healthy. Problem is they have dinner at like 4:30. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's great. I eat and stuff. But by the time I'm,
that's late lunch, right?
Yeah. I normally eat around 7, is when I normally eat and stuff. So when I eat there, I get hungry at night and stuff. So it's like 11 o'clock at night, and there's like a Taco Bell like 8 miles away from where they're at, because they're kind of out in the country. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. So I get to Taco Bell, and I'm like, I look on the menu, and they got this chalupa box with fry. Has a chicken chalupa, it has the nacho fries, a taco and a burrito and a soda. I was like, oh, you know what? Just go for it. What the hell, So I get up there and I order it, and they go, we're out of nacho fries. I go, that's okay. That's okay. I'll get something else. And they go, well, we're actually out of chalupas too.
Oh no.
Oh man. So it's like, he's like, we got tacos and stuff. And I'm like, because it is kind of out. So I said, okay, let's go a different route. So I got like 2 tacos and 2 burritos and stuff. But I can't remember the last time I had a chalupa, but I was hoping it would have been that the other night. So anyway, it is what
I was in Indiana at a trade show, and there was like nowhere to eat except for Taco Bell. But the only thing that was open was the hey John. The only thing that was open was the Taco Bell, but the only thing that was open was their drive-through. So you had to get an Uber to go through the drive-through to get food.
See, my bus is too tall. I can't go through drive-throughs. So that's the nice thing about being on the road. I whenever I come into Portland, because I'm trying to eat healthier and take care of myself, and I'm doing a lot better.
That's why you're going to Taco Bell. I got you.
Yeah. But that's the problem. Whenever I get into Portland, or whenever I get into home base, it's harder for me to do that. When I'm on the road, it's a lot easier for me to eat better, because I can't fit into drive-throughs or nothing like that. Plus, I'm normally camping, and so I'm bringing my food with me and stuff. I'm making my food, so I don't like staying in my hometown for too long, because I will gain a couple pounds when I'm here. But as soon as I hit the road, I'm back on my diet, and I take better care of myself and stuff like that. So I gotta go camping.
Dude, I can see the transformation from you doing all your walking and everything when you're out doing your trips. It's been good.
I started growing a beard. I've never been able to grow a beard like this until this year. So I don't know what's going on. But literally, I've always been able to grow a goatee, but I've never been able to grow like side here. And it's happening. So I'm very happy with myself.
I'm pleased with my facial hair.
Yeah, it only took 48 years to happen, but it's happening. I might get something like what you got going on eventually. So
you know what? I'm Native American. I'm not supposed to be able to grow facial hair. It took me forever to be able to grow anything like this.
Yeah.
For a long time, it was just this nasty, patchy.
Well, this right here on my side is about 4 months of not shaving. So not a lot, but I'll take it.
That's right.
We can't all.
I want mine to fill in a little bit more, like like Keanu has that kind of that Wolverine sideburn thing.
I just wanted a resemblance of a jawline would be nice. That's all I'm going for. We can't all be like John, like John's comments with kids. He's got that
handsome man there.
Yeah, he's all skinny and stuff like that. I got to meet John in Florida, and we had a really nice time together. So it was nice to meeting John. Was another one of my bucket list things as far as people I want to meet from YouTube and stuff.
Right.
So meeting him, I only have one person left. That's kind of my Metarog.
Well, you have to add some more, because you can't just be done with your bucket list, because that means then you're done, right?
I don't watch this YouTube thing anymore, so. But no, I Metarog's another. I've never met Metarog in person, and I want to meet him in person. But I met Biggie Shaq before in person. I met Two Gun Pedro in person, and they're all just awesome moments. So I've been, I think I've probably gone to more comic shops than anyone, and I've also met more YouTubers or people in the comic community than anyone else as well. So
That's awesome, man.
I'm pretty lucky when I think about that.
I went back and watched that video where John was unboxing that stuff where we shorted him some pieces, and that I'm like, oh, my face hurts. I'm just smiling, watching it, laughing, watching that video. It was hilarious.
John deserved that. He doesn't deserve to get complete product. John only deserves to get pieces.
And he was getting these little like special throws, and you were like, well, they didn't give me one of those. They didn't give me one of those.
Those are awesome. I gotta go get some of those.
It's hilarious.
Awesome, man. Well, this was fun, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming. And again, thanks to everybody who showed up in the chat and was hanging out. And for now, we'll say, share your love of comics with everybody you meet. You never know where it'll lead you. Bueller says it'll lead you to a woman. So,
and kids.
All right, guys. Thanks.